everybody. It's Helen Hartsmith here with
Kathy.
And we have a special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Michelle.
Michelle is one of our students that Kathy and I taught in the last year. She went through her year and a day training and has recently finished that. So congratulations to you.
Yay.
For that. Yay.
Thank you. And I need to apologize ahead of time. We are driving down the road, so there could be not only road noises, but also the Australian male Siri, which we're calling Terrence, busting in on our conversation.
And directing us where to go.
Right.
So, we are here to do episode 309 of the Heart of the Witch's Path podcast. Welcome. I hope everybody's having a lovely day.
And it's a beautiful day for a drive.
Yes, it is. Yes, we are on the road, folks. And we're not going to get into exactly what we're doing.
Not on this podcast.
Not in this podcast, but we've got some stuff planned for this weekend. And pretty much the entire coven minus 2 is going to be together. So look for that kind of stuff. But we got some stuff to talk about, but we've got business first.
Business.
So, Michelle, cue. It's time for the correspondence of the week. Kathy, why don't you tell us what the correspondence is for this episode?
The correspondence for this episode is water.
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 Water the element, not water like I thought of it when she first suggested it as water in spell work. I'm like, what?
I don't know. Water the element.
Water the element. So, Michelle.
Yes.
When thinking about water, the element, what comes to mind as some correspondences for water? Or some...
my first one actually was cups and tarot.
Ah, good one.
Oh, good.
Good one. Yes.
I had good teachers.
Aww, you're so sweet.
Suck up.
So of course, water comes from the west, or water is in the west.
Right.
It doesn't come from the west. It's in the west. And it's all about our emotions
And intuition.
It's linked with dreaming.
Right.
What's the color?
Blue.
Good job.
Yes.
Good job.
So that is our correspondence.
Oh, wait. Q.
Oh, Q.
Q. That is our correspondence of the week. So Kathy's driving, so that's why Michelle was in charge of the tech.
Yeah. So let's not drive and cue the sound.
Yes,
at the same time. Right.
There you are, guys. There is your driver safety tip for the day. Don't what is it? Don't drive and do sound cues. Or texting or drinking.
Oh, right.
I think we covered all that.
Yeah.
Don't do drugs either.
Drugs are bad, okay?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So, what are we doing in this episode?
So we were sitting, we were talking and trying to figure out, we've got this 4-hour drive we're doing. What are we going to do? Can we do some podcasts? Can we knock them out? Okay, sure. What are the topics? Oh, well.
That's a whole horse of a different color, right?
Yeah, so we have a couple of them that we didn't want to do while we were driving. And so we printed out a list of topics.
Right. What we actually did was Kathy pulled up the questions that are used. So these are courtesy of Annika. And these are the questions for the 2017 YouTube Pagan Challenge. So these are traditionally done, and I've done these in the past, where you, it's like one question a week where you answer it. But we decided that we would make this kind of a discussion. And we're kind of picking and choosing what questions.
We're grouping them together if it seems like they should go together. Or
right.
Just doing a bunch of them that don't go together.
Right, and kind of just using them for inspiration, just as a means to kind of,
so we could
answer some questions.
We could get 2 or 3 podcasts out of this.
We could. You never know. Depends on how long-winded we are.
Yeah, and we've got 25 minutes till we hit the restaurant, so...
Yeah, so let's see.
Let's get started.
What do we got? So let's go with, this is question number 47. How important is magic to your life? how would it be different if you never used magic?
Oh, it would be so sad. So sad.
Okay.
Well, magic is, to me, in my practice, in my daily life, magic is everywhere. And I don't necessarily do a circle or a formal spell on everything. But I do put intentions out there and work toward things magically and physically in the material world every day. So if I didn't have magic, I would be really sad because I wouldn't have that for me. It would be sad.
Mm-hmm. Michelle, anything?
Absolutely. Considering I'm kind of new to this path, but magic, I find it in everything. Like even as we're driving along, just the colors of the leaves changing.
Because it's almost October.
You know, but everything I do, everything I feel now, it's touched by magic. It's not just reading a book or performing a spell or having a ritual. It's a lifestyle. So without magic, I mean, I would be, well, and I was a totally different person, and now I am a different person because of magic.
We taught her well.
I would have to agree with Michelle too. Kathy and I, we've been walking this path for a number of years. And magic has really just seeped its way into every aspect of my life.
It's everywhere.
And so I do things with purpose. I approach problems with a different outlook than someone who doesn't use magic, and stuff like that. So magic is like breathing to me at this point.
Right.
So, and how would my life be different if I'd never used it?
Well, I've learned that I have to own my life. I own my choices. I own my mistakes. And knowing now that I'm in control of my path makes me a lot more aware. And, you know, every deed and thought and word that you send out to the universe, you have to think about what you're doing. Like, that's the intent. It changes your perspective.
Right.
What she said.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Man, she's good.
She is good. I wonder who taught her.
I don't know.
I said I had good teachers, but then I was called a brown noser, so.
I love it. All right. So, I think we've answered that one well.
Right.
So, let's move on to question number 48. How would your path be different if you lived on another planet, such as a Mars colony?
Yeah, so we kind of pre-talked about this and then we had to stop.
We made ourselves stop.
Because, if we talk about this stuff before we actually record it, then it's sad.
Well, it's just we don't come back to all the points that we originally...
Right. So I feel like because Mars is not a planet that you can walk around on because of the atmosphere, it would be a lot more mechanized. You would have, whatever fake atmosphere housing that you would have in, and if you went out on the planet, you'd have to be in a spacesuit, and so you wouldn't be as connected to the planet. And of course, there's not, plants and stuff like we have on Earth, so you wouldn't have that connection either, or animals. So I think it would be harder to do a magical practice in that way because you wouldn't have the same connections that we have on Earth.
Well, I think that there would definitely be a different approach to a magical path on Mars, but the fact of the matter is there are people who work with planets just as much as they work with Earth. So thinking about it from that kind of a perspective, Michelle earlier had mentioned that, she has a specific connection, and I think Kathy mentioned it too, that there's this Mother Earth aspect that you connect with as part of your practice, or as part of their practice. And that's true, you wouldn't be on Earth, but you would still, if you were in a colony thing, then that meant that you came from Earth. So you're still a child of Earth.
Right.
So therefore you have that Earth connection because you theoretically grew up here, blah, blah, blah. And so Mars specifically, if I remember correctly, Mars is a male energy planet. And so I think that energetically, I think that would be interesting to experience.
Yeah, I think it would be a different magical experience connecting with that Earth, because yes, okay, we connect with this Earth because we live on it, but if we lived on another planet, there would be other things that we would be able to connect with.
Yeah. And so, but I don't necessarily, I see your point about the hard to connect because of not being able to atmospherically be out and about like we are here. However, in a colony situation, you're going to have a habitat of some kind where you're actually living, that would have a stable environment and stuff like that. You would be able to breathe, because you would really need to be able to grow food.
Right, but it would be separated from the planet.
Well, it would have a different atmosphere. Like, you would be inside some kind of a structure, but you still have to plant in the ground, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
but then would you use the ground that was indigenous to Mars, or would you bring Earth ground up there?
well, I mean, I guess it would be a matter of.
It's a complex subject, and we're not likely to experience in it in our lifetime. But it's something that could be done.
Right.
All right, if I may interject, I would think that if you have a spiritual connection to whichever universal deity that you have, you would be able to connect to that no matter where you were.
True.
What you physically connected to would be different. And I would have a hard time, like, my thing is crystals. So if I couldn't get, my crystals on another planet, or herbs or candles or the things that I use in my daily practice, that would turn my magical world upside down. But as far as my spiritual, it would still be there.
But you could be able to find things on that planet. I'm sure they have rocks and crystals and things of that nature that you could use in your spiritual practice. It would just be different. It's like going to Africa and performing magic. You have different stuff than what you have in America.
Well, that's why I say it would turn it upside down. I didn't say it would be impossible, but it would be a whole new learning curve that, okay, what is this rock going to mean to me?
Right. Yeah, I think there would definitely be a learning curve. I think it's possible.
Yes.
And honestly, what this subject even made me think about is Stranger in a Strange Land by Robert Heinlein. A classic sci-fi story that tells about there was this space journey to Mars that happened, and there were 4 couples, I think it was. So 8 people that the couples were specifically chosen to fulfill specific jobs to get the journey there and back, kind of a thing. And they didn't make it, and it just so happens that one of the couples had a child on Mars.
Oh.
And so Robert Michael Smith, I believe was the name of the individual, he was raised by Martians and discovered there by astronauts that came again to the planet, as this individual is an adult. And they brought him back to Earth. And so what does that mean for him? And it was a super interesting book, but it made me think about that because I don't want to get into the whole story kind of a thing, but there is definitely a religious thing that came out of there's a connection. There's a religious connection to the story. So check that book out because it's real good. So yeah. So okay, I think we've answered that question well. Sure. Good job, ladies. So let's jump to the last question. Week number 52. Imagine the Abrahamic religions died out and everyone was pagan. What would the world be like?
So the Abrahamic religions would be Judaism, Christianity, and Muslim. And we did kind of pre-talk about this one too. So as much as we would like to believe that it would all be peace, love, and nirvana, I don't think it would be that way because of human nature. Humans tend to want control of natural resources, of other people, of locations. And while I think a lot of things might be different, we would still not get rid of war, per se.
I agree with that because, and if you don't have leaders and you don't have followers, then you would have chaos. But as those leaders lead, it is, I think, in our very nature we get more power hungry or materialistic hungry, and you would have the same kind of concept that we have now, but maybe you would just be greedy for different things.
There would just be better health care. Because we care about people's, other people, but they still want to control them. So we'd all have better health care. It just would be all pagan. And, the same with Christianity. You have the different flavors of Christianity that fight against each other. We have witch wars today where different, I don't want to say denominations. What's the word, Helen? Traditions don't agree with each other. So why would we think that would be any different if pagans ran the world?
But I still think pagans are more open-minded to say, this is my path, this is your path.
Right.
But that we know that we don't have the only path. And we don't try to recruit and say, you have to be our path.
And honestly, I don't think that, I think that there would still be war, but I think...
Exit left onto US 127 business towards US 10 East.
I do know where we are.
Yeah.
That was Terrence.
Yeah, that was Terrence.
So, there's different flavors of pagans, just like there's different flavors of all religions. So, I don't know that... I think I could say that I don't believe that there would necessarily be wars based on religion.
Right.
I think that wars might be for resources or land or whatever. Because the fact of the matter is that war existed in pagan times.
It did.
So, and I don't believe that any warring happened because, I don't know.
Well, no, I think that it did because,
warring happened, but not because of religious purposes.
Well, maybe not.
Maybe. I don't know. I think it was more for
land
control and stuff like that.
So, but I think some things would be better, but I don't think it would solve all the problems we have.
Mm-hmm. Definitely not.
I don't think we would have cells that were going around destroying ancient artifacts and
definitely not.
areas. That wouldn't happen.
Yeah, definitely not.
We wouldn't be enslaving other people, and we wouldn't be saying you don't deserve health care because you don't have a job. That kind of shit wouldn't happen.
Right.
But
I think that there would be a little bit more humanity in society, but I don't if the entire world was pagan, I don't see us being all tree huggers because we're different.
Right.
There are different people. Like, that's it.
Okay, I think we're done with that question.
Before we get into a war in the car.
So let's we're going to bounce around some questions here. I'm going to be your moderator.
Sorry, I saw
she's reading billboards.
I'm like, I never heard of that restaurant before.
So let's bounce up to question number 38. Most use stones and crystals and their meaning/purpose. So I think this question means, like, what do you use the most? So, Michelle, you're the crystal woman. Talk to me.
Every day I wear a hematite, which is for protection. I also wear a unakite, which is for emotional balance, and I'm a girl. I need emotional balance. I'm not emotionally unstable, but you know how we are. And depending on the day, I always have a pocket full of rocks. And some days I pick up the same thing, and some days it's just whatever the universe tells me that's the one I need that day. Today I have a yellow jasper, which helps with safe physical travels, which we're doing. I almost always carry an amethyst. Not only is it my birthstone, but it has a plethora of goodness. I have a fluorite, I have a tiger's eye, and I have a sunstone, which the sunstone I carry almost every day too, because it does like just what it implies. It helps imbue happiness. So who doesn't want to carry a little happiness in their pocket?
I think it's good for protection too.
I believe, yeah. And most stones are multi-useful.
Yep.
And, so together, I think that's even better. And the tiger's eye, anytime I feel like I need luck, this is the same tiger eye that I carried when I applied for my job that I got, and for the promotion on the same job. So I have more than one tiger eye, but this is the one I always carry.
Cool. Kathy, what do you got?
I have a carnelian in my purse that we charged at midsummer with the sun's energy to get us through the dark half of the year. I don't tend to carry stuff all the time. I did have a moonstone ring I wore all the time, but I've lost up some weight and now it doesn't fit, so I'm in the market for a new moonstone ring. And then if I know that I'm going into a stressful situation, I always carry a hematite or a obsidian. And also I have a big chunk of malachite underneath my bed. Not malachite, no, the other one you said.
Hematite.
Thank you, hematite. Sorry, I'm hungry, so the words aren't working.
Yeah.
I'll say I have a large chunk of rose quartz that sit next to my bed, which is for love and relationships.
Yeah.
So I figured in the bedroom is a good place to,
that's a good
have
one.
that.
I've got a big chunk in our circle outside is a big chunk of rose quartz. And I have a lot of other rocks in the house and around the house too, but those are the ones that I think about and are meaningful to me.
I wear a moonstone ring every day for protection and for womanly stuffs.
Which was why I wore mine and why I'm looking for a new one that fits me.
Yeah. I always have a obsidian and a dragon. I can't remember what it's called. No, it's not. No, it's dragon something. Dragon stone. I think that's what it's called. The obsidian is for protection, and the dragon stone is for health. Basically. So, and the black obsidian is it's a flat stone, so it's like a worry stone. So a lot of times if I'm in a stressful situation, I'll pull that stone out and just kind of hold it and work it, kind of a thing. So I have those two that I carry with me all the time. I'm thinking
2 miles. Exit left onto US 127 business towards US 10 East.
Thanks, Terrence.
Yes, we are in Blair. Okay.
So yeah, I'm trying to think about what other stones are muy importante to me. I have a fluorite point on my wand because fluorite is supposed to help focus your stuff. So I've got that.
Fluorite's also considered a student stone.
Okay.
And I always brought it to class, and anytime when I was learning my new job, requirements, and once again, it has 100 different, maybe not 100, but several different aspects, but fluorite's also used as a student stone. So if you're going to school or studying, carry a fluorite.
Hey, interesting. Maybe I have to get one of those for the roomie.
There you go.
Okay, so I think we should cut this one off because Terrence
We're
is going to
super
be
close.
interrupting us quite a bit. We're going to be getting off the expressway here.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
So
we'll wrap up this episode.
Yeah, let's wrap that up.
So if you liked this, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already,
Please
subscribe to the channel. Comment. We would love to hear if your opinions
Exit left
or
onto US 127 business
actions
towards US
on
10
any
East.
of these any of these questions that we've been talking about. So go ahead and either do a comment, or you can email at heartofthewitchespath@yahoo.com.
Don't forget the Instagram.
Oh yes, Instagram account, Heart of the Witches Path at Instagram, or whatever the address is. So thanks for listening in, and until next time, thanks for walking the path a little while with us. Blessed be.